A man stands inside the most magnificent building in the ancient world. Golden stones stacked into walls that seem to touch the sky. A structure so grand, people traveled hundreds of miles just to lay eyes on it. One of his own friends can't hold back his awe. "Teacher, look at these stones. Look at these buildings. Have you ever seen anything like this?" The answer he gets back isn't admiration. Not one stone will be left on another. In the next few days, this same man will be handed over by someone who ate at his own table. He'll be beaten by people who once called him friend. And he'll be abandoned by every single person who swore they'd rather die than leave his side. This is the final week of Jesus' life. And what he's about to reveal about the end of the world, about a betrayal already in motion, about a suffering so total it will darken the sky itself, is about to shake his closest followers to the core. Stay until the end, because the final scene of the story is one no one saw coming. Not even the men who watched him die. This is Mark, chapters 13 through 16. The hour no one knows. It's the final days before Passover. Jesus and his disciples are walking away from the temple in Jerusalem, a building so massive, so dazzling in white stone and gold trim, it looked like it was built to outlast time itself. One of the disciples can't help himself. He points up at the towering walls. "Teacher, look at the size of these stones. Look at these buildings." Jesus doesn't share the wonder. He turns and says something none of them expected. "You see all this? Every stone here is going to fall. Not one will be left standing." Silence follows. No one asks the obvious question. Not yet. They keep walking until they reach the Mount of Olives, a hillside that looks directly across the valley at the temple. Jesus sits down. This time, only 4 men come to him privately. Peter, James, John, and Andrew, away from the crowd. They finally ask what's been weighing on them. "Tell us, when is this going to happen? What sign will warn us it's coming?" What Jesus says next isn't a simple answer. It's a roadmap through chaos. "Watch yourselves," he begins. "Many will come using my name, claiming to be me. They will deceive a lot of people." He tells them there will be wars, rumors of wars, nation rising against nation, earthquakes, famines, and then he says something that reframes everything he's just described. These are only the beginning of birth pains. Not the end, the beginning, meaning whatever comes next is going to hurt far more before anything gets better. He warns them they'll be dragged before councils, beaten in synagogues, forced to stand in front of kings and governors, not because they did anything wrong, but because of him. And in that moment, on trial for their lives, he tells them not to rehearse a defense. Don't worry beforehand about what to say. Whatever words you need will be given to you in that moment. It won't even be you speaking. Then the warning turns personal in a way that should have made every one of them flinch. Brothers will hand their own brothers over to death. A father will do it to his own child. Children will rise against their parents and have them killed. He tells them plainly, everyone will hate you because of me. But then, buried inside all of it, one line of hope. The one who stands firm to the end will be saved. He goes further. He describes a coming horror. The abomination that causes desolation, standing where it should never stand. And when that happens, he says, don't hesitate. Don't go back for anything. Not your coat. Not what's in your house. Run. Pray it doesn't happen in winter, he adds, because there will be suffering unlike anything since the beginning of the world, and nothing like it will ever happen again. Then Jesus says something that should stop anyone in their tracks. He describes the sun going dark, the moon losing its light, stars falling from the sky, and then the heavens splitting open as the Son of Man returns in power and glory, sending angels to gather his people from every corner of the earth. Learn a lesson from the fig tree, he tells them. When its branches soften and the leaves start to open, you know summer is near. In the same way, when you see all these things happening, know that the time is close, right at the door. Then comes a line that would echo for 2,000 years, the one scholars still argue about today. I tell you the truth, this generation will not pass away until all of this happens. And right after that staggering claim, he admits something even more staggering. No one knows the day or the hour, not the angels in heaven, not even the Son, only the Father. His final instruction is short, blunt, and impossible to misread. Be on guard. Stay alert. Watch. Because you do not know when the time will come. He compares it to a man leaving on a journey, putting his servants in charge, telling the one guarding the door, stay awake, because the master could return at any hour, evening, midnight, or dawn, and must not find them sleeping. What I say to you, Jesus finishes, I say to everyone, watch. It's the last thing he teaches in public, because from this point forward, the story stops being about warnings for the future and becomes about a betrayal that's only 2 days away. The hour no one knows, the betrayal, the cross, the empty tomb. 2 days. That's all that's left before Passover. And in a quiet room somewhere in Jerusalem, the men who run the temple are already planning a murder. The chief priests and the teachers of the law want Jesus dead. But they have a problem. The city is packed with pilgrims to the festival, and Jesus has a following. Arrest him publicly, and it could spark a riot. Not during the festival. They agree the people might riot. So they wait, they plan, and they need someone on the inside. But before that betrayal takes shape, something beautiful happens. Jesus is in Bethany, reclining at a table in the home of a man known as Simon the leper. A woman walks in carrying an alabaster jar. Inside it, pure nard, an extremely expensive perfume, the kind of thing normal people never touch in their lifetime. She breaks the jar open and pours the entire thing over his head. The room reacts instantly, not with wonder, but with outrage. Why would she waste this? This could have been sold for a year's wages and given to the poor. They turn on her, harshly, but Jesus stops them cold. Leave her alone. Why are you bothering her? She's done something beautiful for me. Then he says something that reframes the entire moment. The poor you will always have with you, and you can help them any time you want, but you will not always have me. He tells them what she's really done, even if she doesn't fully understand herself. She has poured this perfume on my body to prepare it for burial, and then a promise that would outlive empires. Wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done here will be told in memory of her, while that jar is being poured out in love. Somewhere else in the city, a different kind of exchange is happening. Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, someone who has walked with Jesus for years, eaten beside him, watched him heal the sick in calm storms, goes to the chief priests. He offers to hand Jesus over. They don't hesitate. They're thrilled, and they promise him money. From that point on, Judas starts watching, waiting, looking for the right moment, the moment when there's no crowd to protect Jesus, no witnesses to interfere. On the first day of the festival of unleavened bread, the disciples ask Jesus where he wants to eat the Passover meal. He gives them strange, almost cryptic instructions. Go into the city, find a man carrying a jar of water, follow him, and tell the owner whatever house he enters at the teacher needs the guest room. They do exactly as told. And exactly as Jesus said, it happens. A furnished upstairs room, ready and waiting. That evening, Jesus arrives with all 12. As they're eating, he says something that stops every conversation at the table. One of you will betray me, one who is eating with me right now. The room turns heavy. One by one, each man asks the same anxious question. Surely you don't mean me? It's one of the 12. Jesus answers, one who dips his bread in the bowl with me. Then he says something chilling about his own fate, that he will go exactly as it was written of him, but adds a warning for the man about to do it. Woe to that man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him if he had never been born. Then, in the middle of this heavy moment, Jesus takes bread. He gives thanks. He breaks it. Take it. This is my body. He takes a cup, gives thanks again, passes it around. This is my blood of the covenant, poured out for many. He tells them he won't drink wine again until he drinks it new in the kingdom of God. Then they sing a hymn together and walk out toward the Mount of Olives, the same hill where, just days earlier, he warned them about the end of the world. Walking in the dark, Jesus says something that lands hard. All of you will fall away tonight. Peter can't accept it. Even if everyone else falls away, I won't. Jesus looks at him. Truly, I tell you, tonight, before the rooster crows twice, you'll disown me 3 times. Peter pushes back, more forceful this time. Even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you. Every other disciple says the same thing. They arrive at a place called Gethsemane. Jesus tells the group to sit while he prays. He takes Peter, James, and John further with him, and something shifts in him, a heaviness the text doesn't try to hide. My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death, he tells them. He asks them to stay and keep watch. Then he goes further alone, falls to the ground, and prays that if it's possible, this suffering could pass from him. Abba, Father, everything is possible for you. Take this cup from me, yet not what I want, what you want. He comes back and finds all three men asleep. Simon, he says to Peter, are you asleep? Couldn't you stay awake for 1 hour? He goes and prays the same thing again. Comes back. They're asleep again. A third time, same result. Are you still sleeping? He says. Enough. The hour has come. And then, rise. Let's go. Here comes my betrayer. Judas appears with an armed crowd, swords, clubs, sent by the chief priests and elders. He's arranged a signal in advance. Whoever he kisses is the one to arrest. He walks straight up to Jesus. Rabbi, he says, and kisses him. They seize Jesus immediately. One of the disciples draws a sword and slices off the ear of the high priest's servant. Jesus doesn't resist. Instead, he calls out something almost sarcastic. Am I leading a rebellion, that you come after me with swords and clubs? I sat teaching in the temple every day, and you never arrested me. Then the moment his own followers had sworn wouldn't happen, happens. Every one of them deserts him and runs. One young man, wearing nothing but a linen garment, is grabbed by the crowd. He escapes their grip by fleeing naked, leaving the cloth behind. Jesus is taken before the high priest and the entire Sanhedrin council. They're actively hunting for evidence to justify killing him, but nothing sticks. Witnesses contradict each other, their cases falling apart. Through all of it, Jesus stays silent. Finally, the high priest asks him directly, Are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed One? I am, Jesus answers. And you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of the Mighty One, coming on the clouds of heaven. That's all it takes. The high priest tears his own clothes in outrage. Why do we need more witnesses? You've heard the blasphemy yourselves. They condemn him to death on the spot. Men spit on him, blindfold him, beat him while mocking, prophesy. Meanwhile, down in the courtyard, Peter is warming himself by a fire, the same Peter who swore he'd rather die than abandon Jesus. A servant girl recognizes him. You were with that Nazarene. I don't know what you're talking about, Peter says and walks away. She spots him again and repeats it to people nearby. He denies it a second time. A little later, bystanders press him. You must be one of them. You're a Galilean. This time, Peter calls down curses on himself and swears an oath. I don't know this man. At that exact moment, the rooster crows a second time, and Peter remembers. Before the rooster crows twice, you'll disown me 3 times. He breaks down. He weeps. At dawn, Jesus is bound and brought to Pilate, the Roman governor. Are you the king of the Jews? Pilate asks. You have said so, Jesus replies. The chief priests pile on accusation after accusation. Jesus says nothing back. So little, in fact, that Pilate is visibly stunned by his silence. It's customary during the festival to release one prisoner the crowd requests. There's a man in custody named Barabbas, jailed for murder during an uprising. Pilate, sensing the priests only handed Jesus over out of jealousy, tries to offer the crowd an out. Do you want me to release the king of the Jews? But the priests have already worked the crowd. They stir the people to demand Barabbas instead. Then what do you want me to do with the one you call king of the Jews? Pilate asks. Crucify him, they shout. Why? What has he done wrong? They only shout louder. Pilate gives in. Barabbas walks free. Jesus is flogged and handed over to die. Roman soldiers mock him mercilessly. A purple robe thrown over him, a crown twisted from thorns pressed into his head. Hail, King of the Jews! They jeer, striking him again and again. Then they strip the robe off, put his own clothes back on him, and lead him out to be crucified. A man from the countryside, Simon of Cyrene, is grabbed off the road and forced to carry the cross. They arrive at Golgotha, the place of the skull. He's offered wine mixed with myrrh, a mild painkiller. He refuses it. They nail him to the cross at 9 in the morning. Above his head, a sign reads, "The King of the Jews." 2 criminals are crucified on either side of him. People passing by hurl insults. Even the religious leaders mock him among themselves. He saved others. He can't save himself. At noon, darkness falls over the entire land for 3 full hours. At 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cries out in a loud voice, "Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani?" My God, why have you forsaken me?" Someone runs, soaks a sponge in wine vinegar, and offers it to him on a staff. Then, with one final loud cry, Jesus breathes his last. At that instant, the massive curtain inside the temple, the one separating the holiest place from everyone else, tears in two from top to bottom. A Roman centurion standing guard, watching how Jesus died, says quietly, "Surely this man was the Son of God." A group of women watch everything unfold from a distance, women who had followed and supported him throughout his ministry. As evening comes, a council member named Joseph of Arimathea, a man secretly waiting for the kingdom of God, musters the courage to ask Pilate for the body. Pilate is surprised Jesus died so quickly, but confirms it with the centurion and releases the body. Joseph wraps him in linen and lays him in a tomb cut into rock. Then he rolls a massive stone across the entrance. 2 women watch and remember exactly where he was placed. When the Sabbath ends, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome buy spices to anoint the body properly. Very early on the first day of the week, just after sunrise, they walk toward the tomb, wondering aloud, "Who's going to roll that stone away for us? It's enormous." But when they arrive and look up, the stone is already rolled away. They step inside. A young man in a white robe is sitting there. They're terrified. "Don't be alarmed," he says. "You're looking for Jesus, who was crucified. He has risen. He is not here. Look, this is where they laid him. Go," he tells them. "Tell the disciples and Peter, he is going ahead of you into Galilee. You will see him there, just as he told you." The women flee the tomb, trembling, and say nothing to anyone. They're too afraid. Jesus rises early that same day and appears first to Mary Magdalene, the same woman he had once freed from 7 demons. She runs to tell the others, who are mourning and weeping. They don't believe her. He appears again, in a different form, to 2 others walking in the countryside. They come back and report it. Still, no one believes them. Finally, he appears to the 11 remaining disciples while they're eating. He doesn't comfort them first. He rebukes them for their stubborn refusal to believe the people who had already seen him alive. Then he gives them their mission. Go into all the world. Preach the gospel to every creature. Whoever believes and is baptized will be saved. Whoever does not believe will be condemned. He tells them signs will follow those who believe, driving out darkness, speaking in new languages, healing the sick. And then, having said everything there was to say, Jesus is taken up into heaven, seated at the right hand of God. The disciples go out. They preach everywhere. And the same God who once seemed silent to betrayal, trial, and death, now works through them, confirming every word with power. The hour no one knew had finally come, and it wasn't the end. It was the beginning.